A 25-year-old woman
Very bubbly, great to be around. Everybody loved her.
suddenly goes missing.
I just want her home.
Was Stephanie Parze the victim of foul play?
Her phone was left behind and her car was there. Immediately, the family said, something's not right here.
And was her boyfriend to blame?
There was some history of domestic violence, which in such a short relationship is not good.
For 87 days, detectives look for clues. What's it like to launch a search of that magnitude?
It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
As a desperate family clings to hope.
You don't know what's going on. You're thinking the worst. Want her back.
911, where's your emergency?
On the day before Halloween 2019, Stephanie Parze vanished.
I have Charlene on the line. She'd like to report her 25-year-old daughter as missing. I told her to text me or call me when she got home, and nothing, and I've been calling and texting her all day.
Right off the bat, you thought the worst.
I thought she was dead.
All the earmarks of something suspicious, were presented during this case. Your spidey sense kicked in. That something's going on here.
Stephanie Parze is 25 years old. She's the oldest of 4 sisters.
You knew when she was there. Let's put it that way. She always brought that sense of like, let's have a party type of kid.
I thought she was a sweet girl that came from a warm and loving family.
She's a former athlete and now working as a nanny, but her lifelong dream is to be a professional makeup artist for the movies and TV.
She was a Freehold girl. Grew up, went to Freehold Township High School, very close to their mother and father, her siblings, and the community as a whole.
Freehold is a middle-class community of about 37,000 people. The Parze family was well known there. Ed had been a longtime member of the fire department and the first aid squad.
Just a real good family, salt of the earth type people.
The Parze family is also well known for something else.
37,000 lights dot this landscape here.
Each year at Christmas, they go all out to decorate their house.
It's truly an amazing sight.
People come from miles around to see the Christmas lights. The night before Stephanie disappeared, she, her mom, and her sisters went to see a show at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick.
They all met here, all my girls, my wife, and a couple other ladies.
All indications were it was a fun evening and something she had been looking forward to with her family.
During the show, the family notices Stephanie's phone just seems to be blowing up. A lot of messages, and they all seem to be coming from her boyfriend, John Ozbilgen.
You're not supposed to have phones in the show, and you could just see her phone lighting up under her leg. I was like, okay, that's weird. What's going on? But she wouldn't tell us.
After the show's over, they go back home to the Parze house in Freehold. Stephanie says her goodbyes and heads to her house.
My wife said to her, make sure you text or call me when you get home, like she always does.
But on this night, there is no text message. Her mother is obviously nervous. It's not like her.
So I said to her, maybe she's got her phone on silent still. Forgot to turn it back on. She got tired and went to bed. I said, we'll call her in the morning when she gets up for work.
The next morning, there is still no text messages from Stephanie. Charlene tries to reach out to her, no response. So Ed and Charlene go to Stephanie's house. And what they find there makes them even more concerned.
And the front door was wide open, so it was like, okay, interesting.
She says, the dog's locked in the bathroom. I said, all the lights in the house is on. She said, what do you mean? She said, everything. All the basement lights, the hallways, both bathrooms, all the bedrooms, everything, all the lights are on.
X plus Y equals, there's something wrong here.
They decide to look for Stephanie's cell phone. When they call it, it rings. It's right there in the house. That is something that disturbs them even more.
It was between the couch and the side table, and I was like, okay, that's even weirder.
What 25-year-old girl goes anywhere without a cell phone? I mean, we're married to our phones now, and that was the big, okay, what's going on here? Something's wrong.
When they look at the phone, they see messages from Stephanie's employer asking, where is she? Hope she's okay.
By all accounts, this was not regular behavior for her to not show up at a job, and when she didn't appear, they got very suspicious.
After looking for Stephanie all day, the Parze family decides to call 911.
The public has this misconception that you have to be missing for 24 hours to report it. You can report them missing immediately, And the sooner the better, so that we can start figuring out what's going on.
Police immediately launch a search for Stephanie.
You start to try to identify, like just basically breadcrumb where she was until you can identify the last opportunity that she's visible or at least known.
Ed Parze also organizes a search for his daughter. Because the family is so well known, hundreds of people take part in this search. They call themselves Stephanie's Angels.
I mean, what do you say to these people? They're just, it's amazing, it's amazing.
The law enforcement community was lucky to have the people in the community who cared about her to try to help.
Ed coordinates this effort from his house. He's trying to keep track of where each volunteer is going. It's a huge effort, and he's running it on his own to help police find his daughter.
He got it. He understood that if I want to find my daughter, I need the community's help, I need police help, and I need the media's help.
It doesn't take long for police to zero in on a suspect. It's Stephanie's on-again, off-again boyfriend, John Ozbilgen.
I didn't like the guy from the beginning. It's no secret.
He was weird, awkward, I guess. That's, I don't know, different. And like, didn't give you like good vibes. It was uncomfortable.
For one thing, John Ozbilgen is the last person to have seen Stephanie alive.
He admitted to being with her. He went to her house, and he said that he left sometime in the morning.
Police also learn Ozbilgen has a disturbing history.
Whenever we identify a target in law enforcement, of course, you're going to run a criminal history check, and we did note that there was a handful of instances of domestic violence in his past.
He had history of assault against other women. In fact, there were 2 other women earlier in that year who also filed reports against him.
John and Stephanie had only been dating a couple of months, but the relationship had already been fraught with problems.
There were some incidents of domestic violence, and John had made excuses. Oh, it was a mistake. I didn't mean to do it.
I just told her, I said, Steph, I know what's going on. I know John's hitting you. I said, I don't want to see him. He's not welcome in the house anymore. I welcome in the family, no occasions, nothing. I said, marriage, get it out of your head. I said, it's just never gonna happen.
But the more the family tried to warn Stephanie, the more they say she would defend John.
When you did say something, she got defensive, so you knew something was not right.
When you say she got defensive?
She would kind of like snap back at you.
I worked with the Sheriff's Department for many years and heard a lot of 911 calls and a lot of domestic violence calls, and I knew, they only escalate, they never go backwards, and I knew she was in trouble.
In September 2019, the relationship between John and Stephanie boils over. There's an incident in which John allegedly backhands Stephanie across the face.
My wife's cell phone rang, and all I could hear was some commotion on the other end of the phone, and I heard my wife say, "Who's hitting you?" So at that point, I got up and obviously started heading towards Stephanie's house.
She actually ran out of the house, texted me, called my mom, and like she was just running down the street when we found her, and then like we pulled up to the house and the cop came.
Police arrest Ozbilgen for domestic violence. The Parzes say Stephanie breaks up with John, but only briefly. Eventually, she takes him back again.
So she actually took him back in, didn't tell us she did, and was kind of like sneaking the relationship behind everybody's back.
Within a week of Stephanie's disappearance, it's clear that John Ozbilgen is the prime suspect. Police search his house 5 times.
We've got some breaking news out of Freehold right now. Detectives speaking to a person of interest in connection to the disappearance of Stephanie Parze.
Police bring John Ozbilgen in for questioning. They say his attitude and demeanor are disconcerting.
He was arrogant, he was vague with his answers and his responses. He wouldn't provide detail. He would try to drive the conversation away from what the detectives were asking. It was almost as if he was playing a game.
They also search a park in Staten Island, near where John had worked. They say they tracked his cell phone there late the night that Stephanie disappeared.
Cell data put him at that location, and then we were able to corroborate that with surveillance video on the outside of the Babe Little League field.
9 days after Stephanie disappears, police arrest John Ozbilgen.
Well, we were able to get into his phone, which was seized in the course of the investigation, and law enforcement found evidence that would support him being charged with possession of child pornography.
This defendant has 10 separate victims in those images that were on his phone. 10 separate babies, 10 separate toddlers, young children who were sexually exploited or assaulted for his and others' gratification.
But the charge is not enough to keep John Ozbilgen behind bars.
That since my client was only charged with one count of child pornography, that count in and of itself didn't rise to the level where he should be kept in custody.
So on November 19th, John Ozbilgen is released on bail. Police seem certain that he is the person who hurt or maybe even killed Stephanie Parze. But right now, Stephanie is just considered missing. There's not even any proof that she met with foul play.
Our office had a history of trying cases without finding the body, and they're challenging for obvious reasons because the defense attorney can say, how do you know she's dead?
Crime Files continues with 87 Days.
It's November 2019. 25-year-old Stephanie Parze has disappeared, and from the beginning, her family has feared the worst.
We knew right away. I mean, I knew immediately. My heart just, I said, she's gone.
Police have arrested Stephanie's boyfriend, John Ozbilgen, who has a history of domestic violence.
Talking with John's ex-girlfriends, he did have a violent side with them.
And he went from a simple hello, where are you, to every expletive you can possibly imagine, calling her everything on the book in seconds. I mean, that's how fast it escalated.
But the arrest has nothing to do with Stephanie. Prosecutors say while searching Ozbilgen's phone, they ran across child pornography.
10 separate babies, 10 separate toddlers, young children who were sexually exploited or assaulted for his and others' gratification.
After a court hearing, John Ozbilgen is released on bail. What happens next changes everything.
It's sad to report to you that my client took his life early this morning.
Just days after he was released from the county jail, John Ozbilgen hangs himself in his parents' garage.
I remember my dad answering the call.
And I just started screaming, how in the hell are we gonna find her? He's the only one who knows where she is. I was literally throwing things. I was so upset.
Just hearing my dad answer that phone, it was just not. I don't know, no one should go through that.
And the horrific part about that for the family, for the detectives, for the prosecutor's office, and just for us watching and all of the people who went searching for her is the fact that he took his secrets to the grave.
John Ozbilgen leaves behind not one, but two suicide notes. The first one is addressed to his parents. He tells them he cannot do life in prison. He says they're going to hear a lot of bad things about him, and most of them are true, but not the child pornography. That, he says, he would never do.
Many people thought that that was the ultimate admission of guilt. I think if there was any doubt that he had killed Stephanie and disposed of her, once those notes were recovered, that kind of eliminated all doubt.
The second note is addressed to John's ex-girlfriend. In this one, he doesn't even refer to Stephanie by name. He just calls her the girl in the news. He refers to her in obscene language, and he calls her a terrible person.
I mean, just a coward's way out. No respect for her whatsoever.
That girl in the news. You were dating this woman. You were in a relationship with this woman. She's not that girl in the news. She is Stephanie Parze, and you dated her, and you killed her.
The Ozbilgens, in particular John's father, say that John was innocent.
The father specifically, he was upset, understandably so, because his son is dead. But he was yelling a lot at the investigators outside. You killed my son, you did this, you planted the porn on his phone.
Ozbilgen's parents basically said police and your office drove an innocent man to suicide.
I would respectfully dispute that. The only person that decided to kill himself was him. We just followed the evidence.
We invited the Ozbilgens to be interviewed for this program, but they declined.
I would say I was obsessed with this case as it was happening because I just couldn't get enough information from it.
With Ozbilgen dead, police believe their best lead to finding Stephanie is gone, so they redouble their efforts to search throughout central New Jersey looking for her.
Plenty of nights waking up, oh God, let me write this down. Did we not look in this area?
The Parze family also steps up its efforts.
Nearly 150 volunteer searchers were out here this morning in Durand Park looking for any signs of Stephanie Parze. her father Ed continues to organize these volunteer search parties. Stephanie has now been missing nearly a month.
You really felt for the family because, man, I've never seen a family like this before, so passionate about getting out there and getting help from people and just organizing constantly to try and find her.
From the beginning, the Parze family has feared the worst, but Stephanie is still officially missing, and so the family has to hold out hope that perhaps she's still alive.
If Stephanie's watching this and she can hear me, I mean, you have to see what's going on. Everybody is supporting you. They love you. They're trying to do whatever they can to find you. We just need you to keep strong and keep fighting wherever you are. Do whatever you got to do to get away. Make contact with somebody. Do anything. We're going to find you.
2019 comes to an end. 2020 begins. Stephanie is still missing. Every day, Ed Parze and his family get up and coordinate the search.
I mean, we had 50, 60 people in the house every day at any given time, and overnight. There was always people here.
And the weeks of searching take a terrible toll.
Yeah, you're thinking, where is she? She's laying out there. So that would drive me crazy.
I had to search, in my opinion. Like, I just didn't want to hear from someone else if I could be the one to find her.
On day 87, the search for Stephanie comes to an end.
On Sunday, investigators tell us that two people, a 17-year-old and 18-year-old, were walking along Route 9 southbound in the area of Old Bridge when they just happened upon the remains of Stephanie Parze.
Police say Stephanie was strangled, and by her body they also find what they describe as the shell from John's car. To police, this is concrete proof that John Ozbilgen murdered Stephanie Parze.
Today, we sincerely hope and pray that the Parze family can have some level of closure and lay their daughter to rest in peace.
And our lives are never going to be the same. However, Stephanie is home. She's coming home. At last. Right where she belongs.
Crime Files continues with 87 Days.
In 2019, Stephanie Parze was murdered. Her body found 87 days later in this wooded area of central New Jersey.
We have answers, we know what happened, but you're never going to get the why it happened.
Police say John Ozbilgen, her boyfriend, a man with a history of domestic violence, murdered her.
We had concluded and confirmed that he was responsible for her killing.
Ozbilgen took his own life before he could be charged.
I don't like when somebody loses their life. Could you say, did it deserve it? Yeah, maybe. But I'm not going to bring her back.
Throughout 2020, police investigate John Ozbilgen's parents for possible obstruction of justice. At issue is whether they deleted text messages or hid other evidence that might have linked John to the murder of Stephanie Parze.
It's one thing to support a loved one, it's another thing to try to take steps to avoid them being detected.
In the end, no charges are filed.
I can't blame them unless they were arrested for something, some kind of obstruction, but it was just a father being a father from my standpoint.
More than 4 years after Stephanie Parze disappeared, her case is still being felt, and it may have a lasting impact on New Jersey for years to come.
And her life was taken short by a monster, and we have to make sure that never ever happens again.
A New Jersey State Senator, Vin Gopal, has written legislation he calls Stephanie's Law. It would create a public domestic violence registry, similar to what we have for sex offenders with Megan's Law.
The hope is that we can create a system where anybody can know before they're entering into a relationship who that actual person is.
Ed, meantime, has created the Stephanie Nicole Parze Foundation to raise awareness about domestic violence. The group holds a variety of fundraising activities throughout the year, and then each year at Christmas, the foundation holds a Santa donation drive. Once again, going all out to decorate the house for Christmas, as they had years before.
But it's good seeing, those lights up at the Parze house again.
Ed also speaks at high schools across New Jersey.
Predators, they know exactly what they're doing. They manipulate and manipulate and manipulate until they get you wrapped.
Hoping to prevent young people from becoming victims themselves.
If we can get that person that says Stephanie saved her life. That's what it's all about.
The foundation has saved lives, and that means your daughter has saved lives.
Yep. Keeps her legacy alive. Keeps her alive.